Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next lesson in the Su-25T Cadet series. This time, before we start on the anti-radiation missile and the anti-radiation aspect of the Su-25T, we're going to take a look at the definitions of certain things. We are going to take a look at SEAD and DEAD. For some reason, there is a very widespread confusion, or let's say wrong interpretation of SEAD, suppression enemy air defense. Military personnel, Air Force personnel, generals, politicians, of course, media, of course, aviation interested person, YouTubers, have a common understanding that SEAD is the destruction of enemy air defense. It is not. How to combat enemy air defenses and how to defend against enemy air forces has a deep interest of mine, or is a deep interest of mine. I have read several books from both the pilot side, the planner side, and from the radar operator side and the air defense personnel side. I know several books that tells you the truth about these two different doctrines or tactics. I can link to those in the description so you can read it for yourself. SEAD, let's start with that. Suppression enemy air defense, or suppression of enemy air defense. It is very important to know the word suppression and what the word suppression means. If you use the word suppression, you know what it means. You cannot use a word you do not know what means. Suppression does not mean destruction, does not mean destroy, does not mean damage or anything like that. It means suppression. Suppression enemy air defense means let us try to force the enemy to keep their heads down. That is it. Suppression. Suppress them, push them down, hold them down, make them inactive, make them incapable of performing their jobs. That is the word suppression, what that means in this context. There are several ways you can do that. I have placed them in the order that I would assume it would be used. First of all, jamming. This is the soft kill. There are many ways of to jam, and jamming is a whole category or chapter in itself. Jamming has many branches out. You can do it in many ways, but we all agree, or should all agree, that jamming does not physically destroy or damage the enemy radar and so on. That is one way to do it. The other way is threat of destruction. What that means is the enemy will not or highly limit their use of the air defenses if there is a high chance of it being destroyed if they use it. It is simply a matter of, I want to see my family again, therefore I will not turn on the radar, because if I do, I will die. That is threat of destruction. It does not mean destruction. You just have to be threatened enough, be convinced enough that if you use your radar, you will die. How can you do that? Well, you can do it with the HARM missiles or anti-radiation missiles. The purpose of SEAD are often confused with dead when they fire harm or anti-radiation missile. That is not the case. If you fire a anti-radiation missile towards the enemy radar, your purpose are not exclusively and solely on destructing the enemy radar. All you want to do is to make them not use that radar. If you fire that missile and the radar operator sees that missile, he will turn off his radar. Therefore, mission completed. That radar is now no longer part of that threat package. He can turn it off again, yes, but it may not be the purpose of that SEAD run. Let's take the Gulf War Desert Storm 91. Those SEAD packages that came in, their purpose was only to suppress the enemy air defenses as long as the strike package was in the area. Their purpose was not to destroy the enemy air defense, because if their purpose was to destroy it, there is no point in jamming. There is no point in sending in a EF-111 or a Prowler to do the job, because they're filled with jammers. There's no point in sending that in if your purpose is to destroy it. There are many other things that can more effectively destroy an enemy radar. And yes, I know about the British alarm missile that can hover in an area until the radar turns on again, but that can be shot down. You can shoot down little drones. You can also shoot down that missile. So yeah, yes, it requires you to turn on your radar, or if it's close enough, you can just use your optical sight or thermal sight. So threat of destruction is often enough. MCON, emission control. MCON or mission control means that the enemy will not have his radar turned on 24/7. He will only turn it on literally seconds before the missile launches, and only until missile impacts. He will then turn it off. He is controlling his emission. He is controlling how long his radiation is out in the air. If you, as a SEAD package, achieve MCON on the enemy, you have hereby nullified the enemy air defenses part in the math. Therefore, it is no longer a threat. Your strike package can go through and come back without any threat from that. So MCON is another way. You can achieve MCON by threat of destruction. Then you have hard suppression, and I misspelled that, I believe. Hard suppression is like we have a Prowler, EA6B Prowler up in there. It have harms or anything like that on it. Radar locks on it. They fire harm. The purpose is not to destroy the radar. The purpose is to break that lock. If that radar operator sees that harm, they will turn off their radar. Therefore, the Prowler has achieved its purpose. The word hard suppression means that it is suppressing very hard. You are suppressing the radar with a hammer, if you like. That is the word hard in the suppression. So SEAD is suppression, not destruction. For me, it is very obvious that suppression does not mean destruction. Some people may say, well, it is part of that category. It names the category. No, it does not, because it is something completely different. That is like, say, a diesel engine. It also includes gasoline or benzene engines. No, it does not. It's two very different things. Over to the dead or destruction enemy air defenses. It is literally physical destruction of enemy air defense. There is no other way to say than this. This is so clear that everyone should be able to understand it. Why we have destruction. Destruction of enemy air defense could be a very viable tactic if you plan on being in the enemy airspace for weeks, and you know that your SEAD package will be limited. Therefore, it can be more effective in conjunction with the SEAD package to destroy the enemy radar, so they are forever and ever out of the game. For that, you can use SEAD to suppress the radar while the strike package go in and physically drop a bomb or missile or anything on it. But DEAD is not SEAD, or DEAD is not SEAD. It is very important to understand that, because it is two different philosophies. It is two different tactics, two different strategies, two different ways of approaching it. Doing SEAD, it doesn't matter if the enemy can see your plane. That is the purpose. You want the enemy to see your plane, to turn on his radar, to use his radar so you can jam it, threaten it, imply MCON, or have a hard suppression. Doing DEAD, you want to remain unseen until your weapons impacts on the enemy. Because if you are discovered on your approach to the enemy air defense, it can cost you your life. So that is the difference between SEAD and DEAD. It is very important to understand the difference, and now you know why. So in the next lesson, when I reference SEAD or DEAD, you know why I use different words and why it requires different tactics.